Histiography, Maralinga. This presentation is focused on the question of how did British atomic testing at Maralinga impact the lives of Indigenous Australians who lived there. The atomic testing in Maralinga, South Australia, took place between 1956 and 1963, with a total of 15 bombs being detonated. Because these events occurred within living memory, there are many first-hand accounts of both the bombings and the effects they have had on the Aboriginal people. This means that much of our sources are in fact primary sources. The main historians and sources of history I looked at are Alan Parkinson, Christabel Mattingly, the Martac Report, and the National Australian Archives. Alan Parkinson is a mechanical and nuclear engineer. In 1994, he was made the government's representative to oversee the clean-up of Maralinga, and he was also a member of the government's advisory committee, or Martac. At the end of 1997, he was removed from both of his governmental roles for raising questions about how the project was managed. During his time working on the Maralinga projects, he collected plenty of primary data from the actual bomb sites in Maralinga. Alan's opinion on the Maralinga cleanup is well known, as he published a book after he was removed from his government roles. His opinion is that the cleanup project was not handled correctly, meaning that there is now the potential for ongoing problems. The other source that I have is Christabel Mattingly. She's an author from South Australia and has written many different books for children and set in many different contexts. She's been part of 2 books on the topic of Maralinga, the first one being a children's book named Maralinga, The Anangu Story, which Christabel collaborated on with a group of Anangu women in 2009, and the second one, a book named Maralinga's Long Shadow, Yvonne's Story, this year in 2016. Both of these books are examples of secondary historical sources, although the picture book has some primary historical information because of the Anangu women's involvement. Christabel's opinion of the events in Maralinga is communicated through the people in the books she writes. She's very sympathetic to Anangu people and their desire to once again live healthy lives in their country. The Maralinga Rehabilitation Technical Advisory Committee, or Martac, released the Martac Reports as an initiative by the Commonwealth Government, the South Australian Government, and Maralinga Tujarika on how to clean up the Maralinga lands. Martac Report was written as a result of meetings between the previously mentioned Maralinga stakeholders from 1993 to 2001. As this is a report that discusses previously collected data, this report is a secondary historical source. This particular source may provide some sort of conflicts because Alan Parkinson, who I mentioned earlier, was a member of Martac before he was taken off the project for disagreeing with the way the project was managed. And finally, the National Australian Archive stores a number of different records documenting the events at Maralinga and the subsequent cleanup. This is a primary historical source as it is an archive of different Australian and British documents. As the source does not discuss or contain any anecdotal information, it cannot have its own opinion on the subject. Thank you.